We are right on the verge of the release of Karlov Manor, and there's a ton of cards that are actually worth a decent amount of money in the singles department, though the boxes have been going down in price. Today we're going to be talking about the most expensive cards that you can pull from your pre-release kits on pre-release for Karlov Manor. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Mattcaster Mage here, and if you do enjoy my content, please consider subscribing and joining in all the fun we have here. Today we're going to be talking about the upcoming set, Murders at Karlov Manor, a set that came out maybe less than a month from Ravnica Remastered. It feels like we're getting so many sets crammed in. Right after the set is done, we have Fallout coming out as well. It feels like we've had so many sets released probably the worst time of year, right after Christmas, right around tax season where people have less money to spend. We have 3 sets that we're going to be getting in the next, 2 months, so it's kind of wild. With that being said, let's take a look at the most expensive cards, and warning, this will contain spoilers, so if you are someone who's avoiding spoilers, please click off the video. I don't want you guys to have any cards spoiled. I was kind of like that when I first got into Magic. When I'd go to a pre-release, it was kind of fun to not know any of the cards and then just open it and be surprised at what you see. So with that being said, let's look at the most expensive cards. With the most expensive card, and we're not going to look at any variants or anything like that. We're looking at just the plain Magic the Gathering cards. We're not going to look at every other showcase frame, just the very plain versions of each of these cards on this list. And here it is, Rakdos, Patron of Chaos. This is a mythic legendary demon. It's got flying and trample, and at the beginning of your end step, target opponent may sacrifice 2 non-land, non-token permanents. If they don't, you draw 2 cards. So this could be used in standard. However, I think it's going to see most of its play probably in the commander format if I had to really take a shot at that. And as you can see here, it's sitting at $39.15, but remember, these are pre-sale prices, so take that with a grain of salt. A lot of these cards are going to go down in price, but they also aren't reprints, so these are new cards, so you never know. Some of these cards can hold well, and some might even actually go up in price over the next few weeks. Next up here, we have Alquist Proft, Master Sluth. This is another mythic. It's another legendary creature. You're going to see that being a theme here. So this is a vigilance creature that has, when Alquist Prophet Master Sluth enters the battlefield, investigate. And then for X, 1 white and 2 blue, you can tap it to sacrifice a clue, and then you draw X cards, and then you gain X life. So this one is interesting. It's one of the only cards that actually has been going up in the past week. Usually you don't see that for cards at pre-release, but this one will be one definitely to keep an eye on. All of these cards on today's list actually are going to be cards that you want to keep an eye on, just in case, because when you're opening cards at pre-release, you might not know the value of them. This is a good video to kind of give you guys an idea of what cards you might want to hold, trade, or maybe even throw into decks. Next up here, we have Undergrowth Recon, another mythic. This time it's an enchantment. It is a 1 colorless and 2 green. It says at the beginning of your upkeep, return target land card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. That is incredibly powerful in Commander, in any format that this can be played. I mean, for 3 mana, if you could find a way to get it out fast, which if you're playing green, there's a lot of ways to ramp into something. I think you'll be able to get this out really fast. That is wild, just to be able to throw something in your graveyard on the battlefield tapped. Now, it doesn't have haste or anything like that. Well, if you're playing Commander, you can easily find ways to give creatures haste, like Concordant Crossroads and stuff. So this is going to be a very powerful card in Commander. And as you can see here, it has been going down, like most of these cards are going to go down. There might be a few exceptions here or there, but this is going to be one definitely to keep an eye on because it is incredibly powerful. Next card we have is Ansrag the Quake Mole. Okay, another mythic, another legendary creature, Mole God. So we haven't seen many moles, so this is an interesting creature type to have here. So it has, whenever Ansrag the Quake Mole becomes blocked, untap each creature you control. After the combat phase, there's an additional combat phase. Very, very powerful. And then we have 3 colorless, 2 red, and 2 green to use the ability where he must be blocked each combat this turn if able. And this is another one that's actually went up in the past week. Kind of crazy. So the ones that are going up, definitely ones to keep an eye on, because you never know what could happen with these in the future. If they do see multiple play in multiple formats, then it can actually cause the price to spike even more aggressively. Right now, we're mostly thinking about where these are going to fit in standard, where they're going to fit in Commander. Next up here, we have a Planeswalker, Kaya's Spirit's Justice. Now this one is a 2 colorless, 1 white, 1 black planeswalker. It has whenever one or more creatures you control and creature cards in the graveyard are put into exile, you may choose a creature card from among them. Until end of turn, target token you control becomes a copy of it except it has flying. And it has a +2 ability, Surveil 2, then exile a card from a graveyard. +1 is create a 1/1 white and black creature token with flying. -2 is exit target creature you control. For each other player, exile up to 1 target creature that player controls. And this one's had a pretty stagnant price right now. Again, now a lot of these prices are probably going to go down. This might be one of those cards that does that, but nonetheless, it is one that you want to keep an eye out for during pre-release. Next up here, we have Vannifar Evolved Enigma, another mythic. So it does feel like this set is going to be very heavily favored in the mythic department when it comes to values. It's gonna be kind of skewed for mythics, so just something to keep an eye on. It is a legendary creature, an elf ooze wizard. I think that's the first time I've ever seen that. It says at the beginning of your combat turn, choose one, cloak a card from your hand, or put a +1/+1 counter on each colorless creature you control. And this is $24.68 right now. Next up, we have Aurelias Vindicator. It is another mythic. It's a creature angel, not a legendary creature this time. It is a 2 colorless and 2 white. We have flying, lifelink, and ward 2, and it has disguise X 3 and 1 white. When Aurelias Vindicator is turned face up, exile up to X target creatures from the battlefield and creature cards from graveyards. When Aurelias Vindicator leaves the battlefield, return target exiled card to its owner's hand. And this card is currently sitting at $24.67. Next up here is Incinerator of the Guilty, a powerful dragon that could potentially slot into an Dragon commander deck. Now it is 4 colorless and 2 red. It's flying, trample. Whenever Incinerator of the Guilty deals combat damage to a player, you may collect evidence X. When you do, Incinerator of the Guilty deals X damage to each creature and each planeswalker that player controls. Very, very good removal for any sort of like EDH deck that uses dragons, especially. Dragon obviously is the one that comes to mind the most. I'm sure you guys think about that one the most when you think about dragon commander decks. Next up here is Forensic Gadgeteer. It's a creature whenever you cast an artifact spell, investigate. Then it has activate abilities of artifacts you control, cost 1 less to activate. This effect can reduce the mana in the cost to less than 1 mana. Not bad, it's about $20 for its market price currently. Now we have Delny Streetwise Lookout, a legendary creature, Human Scout. It is 2 colorless and 1 white. It says creatures you control with power 2 or less can't be blocked by creatures with power 3 or greater. If an ability of a creature you control with power 2 or less triggers, that ability triggers an additional time. It is a 2/2 creature and has actually went up in the past week, currently sitting at $19.65 for its market price. And again, take all these prices with a grain of salt. It is before pre-release even. Pre-release is fast approaching though, and these cards will likely go down. A lot of them will, but there will be some that will surprise people, and I want you guys to let me know in the comment section what cards you think are going to surprise people by actually going up after pre-release. Let me know those thoughts down below in the comment section. Let me know, are you excited for Murders at Karlov Manor, or are you kind of more excited about Fallout? Are you not going to spend a lot of money on the set and you're going to kind of like spend your money on Fallout, or just kind of wait? Or maybe you're just sick of spending money on Magic Gathering. Let me know that down below in the comment section. With that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, I'll see you in the next one.